That's Sutton, and I'm Simply. Welcome back to the Purple Rain Podcast. Once again, thank you for coming through episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. The Willie Snead episode, the Daniel Brown episode, the Ed Dixon episode, more than 2010. And then, most recently, Andy Isabella episode. And dare I say that forbidden name, the Lee Evans episode of the Purple Rain Podcast? I'm sorry.
Damn near
Sorry.
forbidden.
I had to say it. But thank you for coming through episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, right down there. Follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at SuttonDef. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10 and our sponsor, Manscaped. It is getting pretty hot out there, I can't lie. So, they do have the ball deodorant. So, it's a scorcher. So if you want to, make sure you still smell good, go to Manscaped. You can use code PRP to get 20% off and free shipping. It doesn't get much better than that. It really does not. But how are you doing on this lovely Friday Eve, as my K-Dog likes to call it?
Yeah, I'm doing great, honestly. I mean, as we've been talking about these past couple of weeks, the season is just getting closer and closer and closer. And now we're finally at the time where we actually get training camp. We actually get pads on. We get guys fully dressed in practice, man. It looks good, man. It looks good. And we're already seeing like some, training camp videos, things like that. I saw a tight spiral by Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews. I was actually knocked away by Marcus Williams. And I was just like, man, I forgot how much I miss watching this team play football, and I'm just glad we're finally getting back to that point. So that's what this episode is actually going to be about. We're actually going to be talking about, the Ravens training camp, what's going on, what's been going on so far, different news coming out of that. We're going to have Simply AS10 lead us off on that. But first, before we get into any of that action, we do have to bring up who's in the live chat. The Rain Gang is in full effect tonight. We got Cam the Baptist in here, says PRP. What's going on, Cam? Appreciate you for coming through. Raven Ron pulling up, as always, says, what up, PRP? Zay needs to lay off the training camp. It's easy talk. Be humble. Okay. We'll get into that. Mod K-Dog, like you said, says, yo, what's good, Rain Gang family, on this Friday Eve. Also giving a shout out to the hashtag replay gang. Listen, if you're not watching live, that's okay. We love you guys just as much. You're part of the hashtag replay gang. Leave a replay gang hashtag down below. And also, make sure you guys smash that damn like button, as Mod K-Dog says. I mean, K-Dog's a mod here. You got to listen to him. You kind of got to listen to him, right? We don't really make the rules. It's kind of K-Dog. He says, smash that damn like button. You smash that damn like button.
Kind of K-Dog. I like that. I like
that. It's free and it helps out a ton. So he's always right about that. Okay, so we got Rico in here as well. We got Oscar in here. I got to bring you guys up. Seth is back in the house. What's going on, Seth? Appreciate you for coming through. Welcome back. I saw my guy J Prime 235 up here as well. Jason and Lisa. I'm sure you guys are going to continue to trickle in here. So thank you guys for coming out to this episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. What up, Miguel? Says, what up, Rain Gang? Super hyped for training camp news. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into some training camp news, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of that. So simply take us away with what's been going on thus far in Ravens Nation, Ravens Flock, Ravens Land, whatever we want to call it. Break it down for the Rain Gang.
So I'll start off like this. We actually just added or claimed a former player off a waiver, somebody who you were very high on last year. I will never forget, being Makai Polk, back with the Ravens.
Yes, sir.
So I know you were very happy about that. I thought he impressed last year in preseason. He was pretty solid. I mean, who knows? But he is back with the Ravens. So here's kind of some guys who were not practicing today. Cornerback Jordan Swan, he left yesterday. No update on that. And now our PUP guys, J.K. Dobbins, Patrick Ricard, Rashad Bateman, and then Andrew Voorhees, who's not going to play this year. Tyus Bowser on the non-football injury list. Pepe Williams on the PUP, and then Trayvon Mullen on the non-football injury. So those are guys who are missing today. So hopefully, 7 out of the 8 guys are back soon, because we know Voorhees won't be playing this year. So As for today, it was a rough time in the red zone. I'm reading this off of BaltimoreBeatdown.com. Aguilar had a really good catch against Marlon Humphrey. And then the next play was a red zone run. Didn't get anything. And then Jackson was looking for Mark Andrews in the red zone. But here's what I like to hear. A rushing Odafe Oweh leaped up to deflect and force Jackson to overthrow Andrews.
Yeah, let me just stop you right there, Alex, okay? We've heard before, and I know we're going to we're going to be excited about these guys performing in training camp, but we've heard all about Odafe Oweh terrorizing training camps before in previous seasons, and it just didn't really translate into a whole lot of production during the season. And Odafe Oweh does a whole lot of little things that a lot of people don't really notice, things like setting the edge really well, things like that, right? But in terms of getting sacks, things that you want your edge rusher to be able to do, like those concrete, objectional like stats, you know what I mean? Not objectional, objective stats like sacks and things like that, like numbers you put up. I just want to see more from Odafe Oweh in the regular season, man. So like when I hear things like this, it's just I take it with a grain of salt, right? So, but continue, man. I just had to get that off my chest.
No, and you're right to think that way, because we would hear that about our receivers within the past years, whether it be James Prochet, who I still love. We heard about guys like Marlon Brown, Aaron Millette in years prior. Jordan Lasley, we heard about these guys. Who was the one guy? Jaleel Scott. Every single training camp, he was making plays, and then just never showed up in the regular season. So you have every right to feel that way. Talking about the defense here, the Ravens released a video that we were just talking about today. This Marcus Williams punch out on Mark Andrews from a tight spiral being thrown by Lamar Jackson. And we cannot stress enough at how Marcus Williams would have been a Pro Bowler last year if he never hurt his wrist. I think we can all agree on that. This year, I am expecting him to be leading the league in interceptions, but if he can add that punch-out ability to his game, he has to be learning from Marlon Humphrey. That is really, really promising for our safeties this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that it's Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. Like the defense is just having a hard time overall, kind of getting past them, and so that's really promising, because I think that's definitely an underrated aspect of our team, that safety room. Like a lot of people aren't talking about a Marcus Williams or a Kyle Hamilton. I can guarantee if you ask most football fans, most NFL fans, they don't know our safeties, right? They may know Marcus Williams, but they probably don't know Kyle Hamilton, for obvious reasons. He's a second-year player, whatever. But if those guys can really step it up in this AFC, when you have a lot of like really good quarterbacks who can put pressure on the deep half of the field, you need like safeties who are going to be able to kind of contain that attack. So, I'm really happy to hear that Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams are coming along, especially early on in training camp like this.
Yeah, and then so I'll talk about yesterday's practice too, but to finish off today's practice, Isaiah Likely and Charlie Collard had some pretty big catches. James Prochet with a nice play in traffic, and then the defense just dominated red zone drills. So, and also Ardarius Washington had a nice day, which I am Ardarius Washington truther. I really hope he gets his chance to shine this year. But hearing that, our tight ends not named Mark Andrews balling out, it doesn't make me feel good because, if you're going to double team Mark Andrews in this offense now, Likely showed out. I thought Likely had a pretty good rookie season. Even when Collard was healthy the final game, he looked pretty good too. So if we can, get those guys going and get them guys, really show what they're capable of doing, this offense already is making me a little excited and a little giddy, but good stuff to hear from Todd Monken's offense the first 2 days.
Yeah, definitely. And just kind of talking more about Lamar Jackson. First of all, you saw those new jerseys, those practice jerseys?
Oh, all right, we need to talk about this real quick. The fact they don't sell them. Why are you going to show us them if you don't sell them?
Exactly. Like the only franchise I know that like the practice jerseys are damn near harder than the freaking game jerseys.
I'll say they're harder. They with the gold outline.
Yeah. Like, why are we gatekeeping greatness?
You know how much money you would make off of that? Honestly, exactly. I'm being honest. Like, take my money. I don't. It's a practice jersey, not a game. Practice. Sell it.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I mean it definitely is promising seeing what our offense has to offer so far. But it's even more promising and kind of a surprise to me that the defense is stepping up the way that it is, you know, so early. And I think I saw a stat earlier today. I think it was maybe like Jamison Hensley or one of the beat writers who put it out, that the Ravens were 1 for 9 in red zone attempts, against the defense today. And that one touchdown coming from the Nelson Aguilar catch over Marlon Humphrey. But everything else was a failure in the red zone, and I think he also described it as being kind of a very 2022-ish, in the red zone where
Oof.
we just can't punch it in to save our lives. And that's something that I really hope that a Todd Monken offense and the things that he kind of implements into this offense and the nuances can kind of help with, because I think the biggest thing, and I hate to reference the 2019 season, it almost feels like ancient times by now, and Ravens fans are kind of bashed for bringing it up because like it was so long ago, whatever. But the reason we were so successful is because we were actually scoring in the red zone. We were putting up points. And need I remind everyone watching this stream right now, the last 7 games of the regular season, the Ravens did not score 20 points. This was last year. The last 7 games of the regular season, the Ravens could not put up 20 points. They did not put up 20 points. That cannot happen if we're going to be a successful football team. Seven games where you don't put up 20 points, that's damn near half the games, Alex. Damn near. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not winning football. So, it's promising to hear that the defense is, stepping up early, because I think the defense is going to be a very pivotal part of this Ravens team being successful. More than people are giving it credit for. Everybody's talking about the offense because of Odell Beckham Jr., because we get Lamar back on his new deal, Zay Flowers drafted out of Boston College. But we're not really talking about the Roquan Smiths and the Patrick Queens and again, the Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamiltons of the world. So it did surprise me that the defense was kind of stepping up early on over the offense, because we've just been hearing so much and we've been talking so much about them. But I think I tweeted it about an hour ago, like, iron is sharpening iron right now as we speak, and that's the beautiful thing about it. So what are you thinking though?
Yeah, to piggyback off the 20-point stat, didn't we go like 8, 9, 10 games last year without a receiver having a touchdown? Like it was,
Yeah.
It was Demarcus Robinson in that Falcons game in like week 17 to like break that streak, because just our receivers weren't scoring touchdowns. We just couldn't score touchdowns. And you bring it up, and that even in 2020 we were getting the ball in the end zone, not as efficiently as the year before, but we're still getting it in there. And that's a big point of emphasis I think Todd Monken is really focusing on this year, and as he should, because you're going to take 6 over 3 every time. It's common knowledge. But yeah, it's only the second day. I'm not going to sit here and jump too far into it. Still a lot of time to improve. But one thing I do want to talk about the offense is, it seems like Zay Flowers is a story
Yes, sir.
of
Let's
training
talk
camp.
about it.
It's the way he just is so smooth. His cuts, his hand just looks good all around. Obviously Odell too, but just talking about Zay Flowers. If he can stay healthy, and you mentioned in the short, like, do the Ravens finally have that receiver that was like the first round, like by far, you got Chase the 1 year, Jefferson another year. Is that going to be Zay Flowers this year? I hope.
Hey, it's kind of, it's likely. I don't know, man.
Ooh,
it just
likely.
seems like, if Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers can form like an early connection, let's say in that Houston game week 1, right? I mean, let's say he gets the ball to Zay Flowers quick. Monk can draw something up to get the ball to Flowers quickly. He takes it and just goes to the house, The trust is going to get built so fast between Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers. Like, man, I'm just excited to see what happens. Now, more specifically, after the practices are over, after the training camp practices are over, they have these little media day things, where they kind of interview some of the players, sometimes the coaches, and they interview Marlon Humphrey. And Marlon Humphrey, when Zay Flowers was brought up, he said that, he's very fluid, like he's very quick getting in and out of his breaks, things like that. And this is coming from a top 10 DB in the league. So I really value what Marlon Humphrey has to say about a receiver, opposing receiver. So he also compared Zay Flowers. He said he's kind of like that South Florida style of wide receiver but they're very good with cuts, things like that, very quick, like I said. But he compared him to guys like Jerry Jeudy when it comes to route running, guys like Calvin Ridley when it comes to route running. And just
Should have been a Raven.
quick sidebar. You said Calvin Ridley should have been a Raven? Yeah, quick sidebar on one Calvin Ridley. I don't know if you saw that highlight that came out of Jacksonville today. Oh my God. Oh man, if you're listening to this and you have not seen what I'm referring to right now, go to the Jaguars Twitter page or Instagram page, whatever, and look at what Zay Flowers did today. He's just so quick, man. I just don't see how it's humanly possible to stop on a dime like that and change directions. Like, it's kind of crazy how he does it. So the fact that Marlon Humphrey compared our guy, Zay Flowers, to that, super promising. If we can have a receiver like that, man, sky's the limit.
Yeah, and Marlon knows Calvin Ridley, because they played at Bama together. So he knows exactly how he plays, covered him in practice. But yeah, so hearing that about Zay, and then Odell, he had that one catch they showed yesterday, looked good, and just kind of the reception he's gotten, the fact that he's fully healthy, he's somewhere where I think he steps out of that building, and it's just loud noises from the crowd, like they having him play for the team. Everybody loves it. Was dancing at practice today. It's just really, really good vibes, and I like that. Yeah. So I just want to get into yesterday, the first day. Zay Flowers wowed fans with his moves after the catch. Lamar Jackson connected deep with Odell. The offense operated at a very fast pace, and Lamar got the ball out of his hands quickly, and then Kyle Hamilton picked off Lamar. So one thing I do want to talk about real quick is that third bullet. The offense operated at a fast pace, and Lamar got the ball out of his hands quickly. That's something that we're not used to. We are not used to the offense operating at a fast pace. We are used to the play clock being at 0 and Pat Ricard is still in motion across the center.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. And I'm just kind of like having flashbacks of that happening.
Yeah.
It's like funny.
Yeah, just seeing the red on the play clock and seeing a guy still in motion. Yeah. I'm really happy though that Todd Monken is introducing a fast-paced offense, because I think Lamar plays best in that. His best games came at a time when we were in a hurry-up offense and a rush offense, and he was just picking them out. I mean, even the final drive, that 2020 game against the Browns, that led us in the field goal range, it was just dink and dunk stuff. No huddle, and we drove down and we got the game-winning field goal. Don't know why it took Greg Roman how many years to see it, but I'm glad Todd Monken sees it.
Yeah, one of those games against the Colts too, didn't he? Had one of those.
Yeah, the comeback.
Yeah.
We had no time. We had to run in a fast-paced offense. Came back and won.
Yeah. I mean, I think you make a really good point there. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he definitely does play a lot better when he's playing downhill. Like fast pace, he really puts the pressure on a defense and like breaks them like that. Like, it is very. That's a really good point, Alex. That's a really good point. So if Todd Monken is able to successfully implement that, kind of pace into this offense and the way that it flows, the pressure that it's going to put on the defense is going to be just astronomical, because you're adding pace coming from like the coach's standpoint and the quarterback, but also the weapons around as well, like the Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman, who we're not even talking about since he's not on the field right now. And then along with J.K. Dobbins, who we're also not talking about because he's not on the field, and Gus Edwards, who Gus Edwards looks really good so far. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of him. I don't really see too many ways that a defense is going to be able to stop this offense, man. The holes aren't really there for me. You know what I mean? The only hole that I'm looking at is maybe like
a self-inflicted one. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Or maybe something on the offensive line. Maybe Morgan Moses doesn't show up the way he did last. I don't know, but it's just, I don't know. The offense seems like it's kind of impenetrable right now. So
yeah. Hopefully it just, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to overreact too much about how not hearing that they're getting the red zone because it's the second day. So who knows what's going on with that. But yeah, I mean, knock on wood, health-wise, looking good. Considering how the day went, I mean, news just came that Jalen Ramsey is going to undergo knee surgery. He's not out for the season, but he's going to miss some regular season games. And we saw Joe Burrow go down, which I hope is just a cramp for his sakes. Nothing too serious. But yeah, I mean, it's like they switched the times of these practices, and like I said, knock on wood, things are hopefully looking better. But there's still a long way to go before the first game of the regular season.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's hot as hell right now.
Yeah.
Like the practices, I know those guys are out there. Man, I just have all the respect in the world. That's all I can really say, man. I mean, I literally just got out of my car and walked into the house, and that took maybe about 20 to 25 seconds. And I'm like drained by the time I walk in my front door. Like it's crazy. It's crazy the heat is right now. I think it's the hottest time of the year right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So big kudos to those guys literally starting their training camp, ramping things up for the first time at this time of year. It's kind of crazy to see, but we definitely want to get you guys' opinions in the chat about what is going on. Let's see. Raven Ron here says, who makes that 5th or 6th final wide receiver spot? Dante Demas, Laquan Treadwell, Shamar Bridges, Micaiah Polk, Tylan Wallace, or James Prochet.
So Treadwell didn't have the best of practices today, I heard.
I heard,
so
yeah.
He didn't look, like he was giving his all. I think Demas is a long shot. I mean, I'm looking at Wallace because of special teams. I mean, I think he's a hell of a special teamer, and we know how much John Harbaugh loves that. I think Duvernay is number 5 for kick returning. So it's going to be one out of those guys to make the team, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Preseason is going to tell a lot. Preseason will definitely tell a lot. It's tough. It's tough because you want to give the nod to vets like Prochet. I still believe in Tylan Wallace. I still support him. I'm a Tylan Wallace truther, as you would say. Micaiah Polk kind of feels like they bought him in here as like a camp body almost, but not sure. But yeah.
And Tylan Wallace hasn't done anything wrong for you. I mean, granted, Prochet had his penalties. Tylan Wallace has not had any of that. When he's been thrown the ball, he'll make something happen, or special teams, he makes plays as a gunner.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave Wallace.
Raven Ron also says, hey, PRP, week 1, Jackson 6 touchdowns, ? Could we possibly see, I mean, I just got done talking about how this offense seems damn near unstoppable. I don't necessarily see how the Texans plan on even holding a candle to this Ravens team week 1. I could be wrong any given Sunday, right? Especially week 1. We don't know anything yet. But I'm thinking it could be another Miami week 1 performance, where he's got at least like maybe 3-4 touchdowns, maybe 5. I don't know.
Yeah,
over under 2.5 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, week 1.
Over. I'm
passing touchdowns. Passing touchdowns.
Hammering that.
Hammering 100%. The over. Okay.
I think 4 is realistic. He put up 3 against the Jets last year, and that was with, without the contract stuff, and with Greg Roman, and he looked really good. So I'll go 4. I think he'll hit 4.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's definitely possible because I think that the league is definitely going to have to adjust to what the Ravens are going to be trying to do this year. I mean, like we said, with a new offensive coordinator and then all these new weapons, no one really knows what to expect yet. So people are still going to be stacking boxes, kind of expecting what they've been seeing in recent years, and they're gonna get blown out of the water. So I think 4 touchdowns is kind of realistic, but to be even more realistic, I'd probably straddle the line right at 3. So. But we do have a super chat donation. This one coming from a Purple Rain Pioneer, man. Max is in the building. He's trying to not let me bring up his comment on screen. It's just weird, but there we go. Thank you, Max, so much for your super chat donation. We appreciate you for making it rain here on episode 183 of the Purple Rain podcast. Max says you can pencil the Ravens in for 12 wins automatic if Lamar and Ronnie Stanley stay healthy. Alex, your thoughts?
Yes. And even that, too, I mean, this is the first time Ronnie Stanley's been healthy since 2020. A lot's changed in 3 years since he's been, here for a training camp. And, there was no preseason last time he was fully healthy. So I'm loving that. And then with Lamar healthy, yeah, I think 11-12, and I think 12 wins you the division, AFC North. I think it'll be between us and the Bengals. But yeah, I definitely would not mind taking the North back over again.
Yeah. 12 wins. What was our prediction? I think I predicted 11 or 12 wins this season.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think ceiling's 14. 14-3 is definitely the ceiling.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be a great season, man. And we're only, what, 5 weeks away, something like that? It's crazy, man. We're getting so close. The off season is over. I mean, we're going to be eating preseason games here soon. Man, and this offense, just can't wait to see it, man. I can't say it enough. I really can't. It's going to be a great time when we come on this podcast, win or lose, I feel like, after week 1. Just being able to talk about
victory Monday. I gotta put it out there.
I know you're rebuking it. I feel it. Speaking into existence. I get it. Get it. But just sheerly seeing this offense, seeing this team in general just play a football game, with the new offensive coordinator, with all the new pieces, with Lamar with a new contract and that motivation, how that's going to look. Just seeing that on television, or if you're going to the game, seeing that in person is going to be just absolutely it's going to be a spectacle for Ravens fans. It's going to feel different from other week 1s, I feel like, at least.
Hope so.
But thank you so much again for your Super Chat donation, Max. We really do appreciate that. Okay. So let's go ahead and keep getting some reactions and some questions in the chat so we can go ahead and answer those before we wrap this episode. But Alex, what other things did you want to touch on from the training camp?
I'll be honest. I mean, running backs. I know we have Melvin Gordon there now. Keaton Mitchell, look, in the drills, kind of as good as advertised. Real quick, real shifty. Got some real speed. I like seeing that a lot. And then linebackers as well. Roquan and Queen. I'm so happy that those two are out there. Considering the whole speculation that PQ will be traded, we're a better team with them. There's no doubt about that. So seeing those two guys out there, and then seeing Madubuike. I think we're all like Madubuike truthers at this point. I
gotta be.
I personally believe he's going to play himself out of Baltimore this year. That's how good he's going to play. That we can't re-sign him. And then even Broderick Washington too. I think those two guys. I hope we're talking to them about contracts, because I would love to have those two guys back, because they're vital pieces to this kind of a weakened front defensive line. But hopefully they do their thing this year.
Hey, did you hear about the Chase Young rumors?
Yeah, I don't know how much truth there is to that. Man, what do you give up? What are they asking? That's my only thing.
Yeah, that is the big thing. If we're talking like some draft picks, maybe like what do you think they would ask for? Maybe like a 3rd or a 4th?
I'm thinking 3rd. Because he was
3rd, and maybe like a 5th or something like that. I don't know. In the next year, I don't know. I think they could work it out. Listen, I would love to have Chase Young. I really would. He has been hurt, but I do think that. Wait, did he finish last season?
Yes,
he did. Okay. See, so that's what's promising. I feel like that's what's most important. I feel like if you bring him to the Ravens, it kind of, and I tweeted this, it kind of revitalizes his career. You stick him on a contending team that can actually legitimately win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson and Odell Beckham Jr. and just all the juice that is already surrounding the Ravens. I feel like that could bring the best out of him. So if it's possible to get done, I think the Ravens should get it done. That's just me, though.
Yeah, so he did. Yeah, he played in the final 3 games. No sacks. Okay. But yeah, he played. So.
See, no sacks. See, we can negotiate with that. We can tell Washington, look, he didn't get no sacks last year. He's been hurt. So look, you can take this 3rd and maybe like a 6th in the next year's draft. I don't know.
Look what the Dolphins gave up for Jalen Ramsey. I know it was like, oh, well, you guys are Ravens fans, you're drinking the purple Kool-Aid, but they literally gave up peanuts for Jalen Ramsey. I know he had the contract, but this guy is going to be, he's a rental. Final year, his 5th-year option not picked up. So,
also, definitely hope Jalen Ramsey is okay because I understand he got hurt today as well.
Yeah.
I want to say he went down with something. Yeah. So definitely hope Jalen Ramsey's okay. Joe Burrow, hope he's okay as well.
Yeah. Joe Burrow has just a strained calf. Just came out. So
okay.
He should be good. Yeah. That's my biggest worry about these training camps and stuff like that. I know CJ Gardner-Johnson went down, but thankfully he's fine too. The Lions safety, so don't like seeing that. And then actually, Ravens news, Nick Moore, our long snapper, tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
So we had to sign a new long snapper. So we already got one's down.
So, don't say it like that, man.
Yeah. It's couldn't even start, but before that.
Man. Was it a football? Like, did he get hurt playing? What happened?
It may have been training because it was a non-football injury, so it may have been like training or something like that. You heard about Nyheim Hines, right?
Speaking of, I better say, speaking of those non-football injuries, Nyheim Hines got struck by a jet ski and is out for the season, and is now in a dispute with the team about his money situation. So that's kind of interesting. But go Bills. I don't know. Let's see. Raven Ron saying here, I would take Chase if you can keep Patrick Queen on the roster this year. I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
I'm right there with you.
Let's go ahead and get some questions down there. Hezekiah House says, what rookies do you think should get plenty of starting snaps?
Oh, obviously Zay Flowers. Tell you what, if Tyus Bowser isn't, a fully 100%, Trenton Simpson will be getting some snaps there.
Trenton Simpson season. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, somebody brought it up how maybe he wasn't brought in to take over for Queen, maybe to take over Tyus Bowser. So this could really, fall into his lap. An amazing situation. And then
real quick, where are we at with Tyus Bowser's contract?
This is his final year, I'm pretty sure. Re-signed after the 2020 season, I think a 3-year deal. So
so that would make sense. That makes sense.
And then the offensive lineman we got from Oregon, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but he could be our starting day left guard.
Yeah, so I think we decided we're calling him Lulu or something like that.
Yeah, or Sal. I think it was Sal. I think that was his
Sal.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but we can do Lulu. That's fine. I'm fine by that.
Let's see. Raven Ron says, is it a physical / mental fatigue or defensive coordinator issue while we kept blowing fourth quarter leads last year?
Wow. For the Dolphins game, we had Pepe and Armour Davis out there. What other games did we blow? We blew a good amount.
A lot of the games were really close too.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it comes from the offense really just not stepping up, and your offense. Some people say sometimes your offense is your best defense. We got none of that for the better half of last season. So I think that is contributed to the mental fatigue of the defense, I would say. But I have all the faith in Mike Macdonald, to be honest with you. As long as the offense can hold up their end of the bargain, I'm good.
Raven Ross's Buffalo game, yep, you're right. I mean, offense went missing in that too. Giants game, I remember Peters had an interception, but they called it the DPI. Yeah. One more thing before getting into questions, but I just want to bring this up. I want to know, a big contract was handed out a couple of days ago to a quarterback who I think is mega talented. I think has all the talent in the world, but is not worth all that money. Because I was told that a certain quarterback with an MVP and a 1-3 playoff record was not worth this money. Okay. But this quarterback blew a 27-0 lead. I know that he doesn't play defense, but the offense stopped scoring. He choked in week 18 a couple of years ago against the Raiders, where my quarterback in his rookie year took a team to the playoffs in week 17. I'm sorry. Justin Herbert I I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, he's a baller of a quarterback, amazing talent, but that much money for a guy who has not won a playoff game. Hate to sound like that.
You know what? I honestly understand why it happened. You know, I think that just with the culture and the landscape of the NFL nowadays and how I don't even know where that sound is coming from. There's like this weird sound coming from like my computer or something like that. It sounds like a fart almost, but it's not. I promise, guys. Anyway, so just with the landscape of the NFL right now and how like paying quarterbacks and how that's going, I get why they did it because you have to ask yourself as a franchise, you have to ask yourself two questions when it comes to paying a quarterback. One, is this your guy? Two, does he have legitimate talent? You know, if he checks both of those boxes, then yeah, you pay him a little bit more than what the last quarterback who got paid top dollar did,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And a lot of times what happens is the team, even though they're giving out these huge contracts, it's restructuring it. It's structured in a way to where it helps the team out, you know, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what they did with Justin Herbert. I think he had like a $29 million cap hit coming up or something like that,
Yeah.
and they got that down to 19 million this year, something
Yeah.
like that. So I think that's the reason why they did it. Now, like I said, again, franchises they have to ask themselves two questions. One, is it your guy? And two, does he have legit talent? Sometimes you have a situation where you get like a Daniel Jones type of situation.
Yeah.
He's their guy, seemingly in New York, but two, I mean, I don't think he has the legitimate talent, you know, especially not on the level of like a Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, guys like that, to kind of warrant him getting the top dollar. So guys like that who can only answer one of those two questions get kind of like those middle of the pack contracts that Daniel
Mhm.
Jones got. Not quite the top dollar, but still big money, you know. So
Yeah.
in short, you know, it sucks that Herbert got more money than Lamar, and we think Lamar is better than Herbert, but it was
That
bound to
just
happen this way, you know.
you see when you put it like that too, like oh, my Siri popped up. I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes is the eighth highest paid quarterback, and he's by far the best in the league, which
Yeah.
is insane to think about. You know, the guys above him like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, those guys like just making more than him, and he's like he's made the AFC Championship every year. He's been a starter, and it's been in Kansas City, which is crazy to think about. So I mean, Burrow's going to be the next highest paid quarterback. No ands, ifs, or buts. We know that. So
Yeah.
just wanted to talk about that because I thought that was insane. I think the Chargers have 4 players next year with a cap hit of over 30 million, I believe. So they're gonna have to play some cap jump rope next year. So
Yeah. Let's
but not fully
see.
not fully guaranteed. So Browns thought they
Oh
did
yeah,
something.
yeah. Raven Ron says Jalen Ramsey out 6 to 8 weeks. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Better than the latter. I'll tell you that.
Yikes. Yeah, definitely. But whew. Speaking of what we were just talking about, contracts, guaranteed contracts, things like that. I think they're coming back around once the Saudi Arabians get involved, man. I'm telling you, I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to call it right now.
Um,
Maybe call me crazy, but I'm telling you, those Saudi Arabians are not playing. Y'all saw what they offered Kylian Mbappe, man. $776 million to play for 1 year. And they had to also pay a $300 million transfer fee. So upwards of $1 billion they're going to pay Kylian Mbappe to play for them for 1 year. 1 year. Like,
and I am over the moon. He said no. Over the moon. Didn't even communicate with them. I need like that. That restored my faith a little bit because the problem with here's why I don't think it's going to last as a soccer fan. The coaching there, they hired a couple of managers outside of Saudi Arabia. They don't have the youth investment, the training facilities to keep that going, and even TV deals. You can stream it, but for money to keep on getting pumped into there, you need some TV deals. So I hope it fails. I'll be honest. I hope the Saudi Arabia stuff fails. I know they have Ronaldo in there, who's one of my favorite players, but I don't like seeing them just throw this money and, it's not saying they don't deserve it, but the fan bases are nowhere near, how it is in these other countries. So, yeah, I'm happy Mbappe said no. That's a big step. It's a big thing because if he would have said yes, that would have probably changed the way of the sport. And I hope they don't interfere with any other sports because it sucks.
I was gonna say, like, what's stopping them from infiltrating the NFL, buying a team,
Yeah.
or if the NFL shuts that down, what's stopping them from like buying the XFL and then paying maybe star running backs who aren't getting paid in the NFL big crazy contracts in the XFL, and they're getting older guys, veterans. I think that it's a slippery slope that we're gonna be sitting on when it comes to like just handing out all this money. So
Yeah.
I think that one day it definitely will infiltrate professional football, American football, and that's just reality. Money talks.
Yeah, and the big reason why they're doing it with soccer is because they're attempting a bid for the 2034 World Cup, I think, or 2030, because 2026 is USA, Canada, and Mexico all together. So, I mean, what was it? Saudi Arabia, they beat Argentina in the World Cup last year in a group stage match, but they still really aren't a threat in world football, which is another reason why they're doing it. So hoping their Saudi Arabian players can get better to perform in the World Cup. But yeah, I'm praying on their downfall. I hope it absolutely flops 1,000,000% because it just sucks to see.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. We'll take maybe one more question.
Actually, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Non-sports. Did you see any of one of the two movies that came out this past week?
I have not seen either Barbie or Oppenheimer. No.
Okay. I watched both the same day, so I definitely recommend doing that. A lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one was better, would you say?
Oppenheimer by a million. I mean, I saw it first because it's a lot of thinking, but it was amazingly well put together. And I saw one of my friends, and we've been nonstop talking about it since Sunday. You miss so much stuff in there. It's something that it's 3 hours long, but I would love to see it again to see what I missed. It's so good.
Yeah, shout out to Christopher Nolan for sure.
He was in his bag.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. And I also heard Barbie was good too. That's what I heard.
So. It was funny, corny. Definitely something you don't gotta think about while watching.
Let's see. We'll go ahead and take this last question from Big Ranch Breakdowns. It says, what will the Ravens defense be ranked this year? When it's all said and done,
according to Madden, not top 10. Which, yeah.
Well, I mean, but if we're talking right now in training camp, we're talking about guys like Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton kind of being the highlights on the defense and whatnot. We haven't even started talking about the Roquan Smiths and the Patrick Queens and the David Ajabos, and once we see what he can do, hopefully Odafe Owe takes a step up this year too. In coordination with a year two Mike Macdonald, this defense can be nothing other than top 10.
Yeah.
Nothing other than top 10. I can't put a finger exactly where, but maybe fringe top 5 when it's all said and done, man. I mean, you look at our defense last year. I mean, like I said, we weren't really scoring 20 points, but other teams weren't really scoring 20 points either. Like our opponents weren't scoring that much. We were scoring below 20 and still keeping games close, man. Like, it's crazy. So I think we'll definitely have a top 10 defense.
Held the Bengals to 17 points. I mean, that's in the playoffs. So I think top 5. But you need Justin Houston back, or you trade for Chase Young. I need somebody else.
There you go. See? That Chase Young talk. I like that. Big Range Breakdowns is Christopher Swain, by the way.
Oh, what's going on?
Yeah, Christopher Swain. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you for coming through. Definitely Purple Rain Pioneer there. Make sure you guys check out his channel. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Listen, if you're just getting in here, just go ahead and hit that rewind button. Take that playhead, just scroll it right on back. We'd appreciate that. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, like you see down below. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. You can follow this guy over here on Twitter at Simply as 10, or on Instagram at simplyas10.prod. And like he led the episode with, you can use our code PRP on manscaped.com to save yourself 20% off. Plus, you get free international shipping. I will repeat that. Go on manscaped.com. Get yourself anything. Order yourself anything off of the website. You can order multiple things. Stack them up if you want to. Save yourself 20% at the checkout using our code PRP. Again, thank you guys so much for coming out to this episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. I appreciate you guys. Alex appreciates you guys. With that being said, I'm going to let this guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
And never, ever, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 183 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys